Game Marketing 101. Never make a game to just pleasure yourself. Make one to pleasure others. Because if you are making a game for just yourself, you will spare yourself a whole lot of time if you just pleasure yourself instead. This was one of the best quotes I've ever read on Reddit, and I can't for the life of me find it back, which is a bummer, but fortunately the wisdom has still stuck with me, and while I know I should never make a game for myself, I simply haven't been able to. But before we get properly started on this topic, a short intermezzo. You may have already noticed that the visual quality of this video is a bit less, and I'm very sorry about that. My PC jack is severely hampered at the moment, as I had to return the power supply back to its creator, and while I'm waiting on a new one, I had to remove my graphic card, as the temporary power supply is not suitable to power an RTX 4090. And the reason I share this is that I thought it may give you an interesting insight in the obstacles one can have during game development. All my Unity projects currently run at 2 FPS, which can be quite an interesting challenge in my line of work. Anyways, just so you know and don't have to wonder why this video looks like shit. Another nice bit of knowledge is that it's almost impossible to render and edit a video on an onboard AMD graphics card. Editing this video took me ages, so that's why this video is also a little bit boring visually. Now, where was I? Yeah, if I'm going to dedicate years of my life to create something, it better be something that I like creating, and because I'll have to playtest it as well, it might as well be something that I like playing. Personally, I've always believed that if I like something, there must be other people liking it as well, so probably enough people who will buy my games. Or at least a few. Of course, I'm a very special person. But no way I'm so very special that I am the only one in the whole world that has such a peculiar taste in games. Yes, this will probably mean that none of my games will be a huge success ever. But in this day and age, the only way to do that is with $1 million of marketing budget anyways. So let's not waste any time building anything that I wouldn't want to play myself. And I do not only believe this is important for a solo developer, but for everyone working in a small or bigger team as well. I've seen it happen on one of my previous games, Sanity of Morris, that nobody in the team was at all engaged with. Better yet, most really didn't like the game's concept. And I must admit, I didn't either. So I think it was a lost cause from the start. No matter how much I tried breathing in excitement around the project, it felt like a totally wasted effort. Nobody felt inspired and the work efficiency was horrible. In my defense, this was during the COVID pandemic, which was one of everyone's least favorite moment in time and didn't help at all in getting motivated at building a cool game. So while I personally can't imagine how I could dedicate my time and motivation into creating something I'm impartial towards, you may not always have a choice. As a freelancer, I of course also take on jobs that I end up not liking very much. Most of the time I then quickly finish up my tasks and move on to another job. But sometimes the need for income is greater than personal preferences. It's not always sexy, but sometimes you just have got to grind. There are two things that help me most if I do find myself in such a position. The first thing is that I have to split all my tasks into very small bite-sized pieces. That way I can cross off tasks very quickly, which at least makes me feel as if I am an amazing and fast developer. And then when I'm getting fed up with the work, I simply switch to doing stuff that I like doing very much. Yeah, I'm making less hours than I could be, but at least I'm not just staring at my screen like a zombie, and instead at least do something productive. Now, the real reason why I bring up this topic is that over the past 12 years I've created 3 entertainment games, and if I'm being absolutely honest, of the 3, I only like one. Woven wasn't originally my concept and has always felt a little bit too contained, a bit too safe and, well, a bit boring. Sanity of Morse, a psychological thriller created during a time at which the real world was a scarier place than any game could ever be, I genuinely dislike. For City of Springs, I fought like hell to make it mine. I originally came up with the outlines of the original concept, and it was a struggle to keep it in such a form that it would end up being a game that I would like. And now that it's nearing completion, I'm falling in love with the environment, the story, the characters and the gameplay all over again. Yeah, I know, it isn't a perfect game, but it sure is a game that I love to play over and over again. 12 years, 3 games and only 1 that I'm passionate about. I don't think that's a good track record, and I hope that you can do it better. If you decide on creating something, whether it's a game or something completely different, and you are going to invest years of your life in it, better make sure that you are 1000% passionate about it. And that's the message that I wanted to convey in this video. Now, are you creating something you think is absolutely fantastic? I'd really love to hear about it, so feel free to post anything you'd like in the comments. Do keep it age rating appropriate, please. And as always, hate or love this video by clicking those sexy like or dislike buttons down below. I've made enough innuendos for this week, I think, so hopefully see you again on my next video.